between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. Four deep behind Stewart and Kenton.
Welcome, everybody. How does he do it? How does Ty Gibbs continue to be the show? Every race he's in, whether he's leading every single lap of whatever ARCA race he's in, which he's done a couple of times this year, and he'll probably do again here tonight in a few hours, or when he gets into these Xfinity cars, even on the rare occasion that he doesn't win, which at this point, he's almost won as much as he's lost in Xfinity at this point. He's made, like 6 starts, something like that, 7 maybe, and he's got 2 wins. So he's like 2 for 6. It's pretty good. It's a pretty damn good ratio. He is the show. Spun out early on, made a little didn't make contact. No, I want to reiterate, did not make contact with the leader. Sorry, I got to mute my phone so I don't get a bunch of messages after the race that are buzzing into the mic. Didn't run into Chase Briscoe at all, but raced him aggressively. So put on a show late in the race, put on a show at the beginning of the race when he was spinning out himself, and being very thankful for the turf on the infield grass. What a show. We're going to get to it. We're going to talk all things Xfinity here today. A couple of super chats already. Thank you, Steven. Hemrick had the best car all day, and of course he got crashed. I want to see the backflip, damn it. I'm with you. I want to see that backflip. He won the first 2 stages. Now, to say he got crashed, he kind of crashed himself. He moved up into, I think it was Brandon Jones, but it was a difficult situation. It wasn't an obvious, just like careless mistake. It was just difficult restarts, 3 and 4 wide. That dog leg's hard to judge, but the wreck was mostly Hemrick's fault. But yeah, his day went from great to horrible. He got passed by Briscoe, and then almost immediately had a slow pit stop. Got blocked in, and then had a pit penalty, and his day just derailed from there. Really bad breaks for Daniel Hemrick. Jake, thank you. Was awful to listen to. Cheater boy. We'll talk about drivers only broadcast. I think there's a lot of good that came from it today. And thank you, Seabass. Is it bad that when on the last restart I played some initial D music and the beat accidentally synced up to Brandon Brown flying through the field? Hey, Brandon Brown with those fresh tires at the end there. He was putting on a show. Came back to finish 4th. That's pretty awesome. I've done that before. I did that when I was at COTA last weekend in the grandstands. I had headphones and I had a scanner. I was listening to the radio or listening to driver radio. But after a while, during like a long green flag run, I swapped it over and just put on music. I was listening to music through my headphones while watching the race. It was kind of a cool vibe, cool mood, especially in the rain. But thank you all for tuning in here today. Yes, Ty Gibbs wins his second race. I gotta make sure. Let me double check his stats. Let me pull up his stats really quick, just so I know exactly what I'm referring to. Ty Gibbs. Because this is, I believe, his 6th or 7th start of the season. Come on, baby. This was his sixth race of the season. 2 wins already, only 1 finish outside the top 5. 5 top 5s in 6 races. That's insane. That's madness. He's 18 years old. And in most of these races, he's doing it with little to no practice time. I just don't believe it. It's wild. Absolutely wild. This is Racing Reference is saying he's 15th in points. Is that true? Is he 15th in points despite only running half the races? 12 cars make the playoffs in Xfinity, right? If he's 15th in points, he's not that far out of playoff contention. I guess because he's not running all the races, he's legally not. But if he actually points his way into the top 12, can they stop him? Like, I know you have to run all the races for your win to count for automatic admission in the playoffs, but I'm saying if he points his way in somehow, if he points his way in on a part-time schedule, he should get a playoff spot. That's my take. But what a day for Ty Gibbs. I'm sure you guys have plenty to say about him in the chat. Hemrick's got to go. Ooh, he had such a good run today. He's been good this year. Hemrick has led a lot of laps this year. He just doesn't get the finishes. So, he is easily the oldest driver in the JGR Xfinity program. So I think he's got the shortest leash. But I don't know how deep that funding is. Funding matters. And I see a lot of y'all in the comments talking about Ty Gibbs not having a sponsor once again being a mostly blank car, Xfinity car. I'm still thinking about last night. I think he kind of made a little pitch at the end there. Come get on this car, Yeah, I think Joe Gibbs Racing is waiting for a big brand to step up and take notice and make a long-term investment into Ty Gibbs. I think they're hoping. Monster Energy's got a few races this year. They're certainly a partner of Ty Gibbs, but they're looking for somebody bigger. Eric sponsored Ty Gibbs. They probably want $50,000 or more for like a primary scheme. I don't have $50,000 to spend on a NASCAR sponsorship. Hey, I'll give them a little bit of money for a sticker on the door. I'll slide the numbers back and give me a little sticker there. I don't know how much that costs. That's also probably out of my price range. What would it cost for me to put my logo this big on like Ty Gibbs's helmet, like right here? How much would that cost, Ty? I'm not sponsoring Ty Gibbs. It's out of my price range. Dude winning Xfinity races every week. That's expensive. That's expensive TV time. No amount of super chats will make that happen. Thank you for the super chat. Dislocation. Been a while, but where is the sponsorship for Ty Gibbs? Ridiculous how people are not giving him any sponsorship other than Monster. Yeah, I don't know. Toyota's certainly got some invested interest in him. Pristine Auctions has been on his car once or twice. But yeah, they're waiting. I don't think they want to take some low ball, here and there sponsor. I think they're waiting for a big company. I think they're waiting for someone big to step up and sort of be Ty Gibbs for life, if you know what I mean. Someone who can kind of follow him through the lower series up into the Cup Series one day. But Monster Energy certainly some help. Thank you, Jar Jar Binks, for the super chat written in the voice of Jar Jar Binks. I don't really know what Jar Jar Binks sounds like. I've not seen the prequels. Misa think the broadcast was big doo-doo. They's a cheater boy. Harvick ruined it. He's a still in muy doo-doo. Does Jar Jar Binks speak Spanish? He's a total hypocrite. He gives bad okay. Thank you, Jar Jar Binks, for the Kevin Harvick slander, the Kevin Harvick bashing. Glad that this weird new trend and tradition is continuing on. Let's talk about the broadcast here in just a moment. I want to read through a couple other super chats. Thank you, Groovy Goose. The Kim Burton cam made a return. Ty greater than Crack Hogs. Well, the Kim Burton cam made a brief cameo. Briefly, they got a shot of her at the very end. They also showed Ty Gibbs's mom. So now I don't know what Ty Gibbs's mom's name is, but the Ty mom cam. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't really roll off the tongue. I like it. I like seeing more people in the garage. I like seeing more family members, more people there to support their drivers. I like seeing that. I love the one guy they cut to it a couple times. The one dude in the stands wearing a Kyle Busch hat and a Ty Gibbs t-shirt, who was really into it when Gibbs and Briscoe were battling for the lead. I love the couple times they cut to him. His reactions were pretty great. Thank you, Arian Gomez. Another good Xfinity race. I agree. Can't wait to see the Xfinity race in Nashville. P.S. I can't stand Joey Logano on the track, but he is a decent broadcaster. I thought it was a good Xfinity race as well. And I'm with you. Joey Logano, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Logano's on-track persona. You know, many drivers, including Kyle Busch, recently have called him sort of two-faced because he is a very nice, fun dude. When you hear him speaking to the media, when you see him in the booth, seems like a fun dude, really nice guy. But on the track, it's completely different. And I think that bothers a lot of drivers. But I'm with you there. I've always liked Joey Logano in the TV booth. Even when it's like him, Adam Alexander, and somebody else, he's been really great on TV this year, more often than not. And I thought he was solid again today. Thank you, Andrew. This is Ty Gibbs World, and we're all just living in it. Sure feels like that right now. It sure does. Thank you, Daniel. Time to push that rocket onto Gibbs' back. He's the push Vince McMahon gives to promising wrestlers. I'm not a wrestling guy. I know who Vince McMahon is. I don't know this. I don't get this reference, but if you're comparing Ty Gibbs to a promising young wrestler, then yes, he is obviously a very promising young race car driver. I had an interesting conversation. I plugged this last night. I'm going to plug it again. But the latest episode of A Lifetime in NASCAR, I had an interesting brief conversation with Ben White, who's been covering the sport, covering NASCAR for years and years and years. Really smart dude. And we kind of talked about like drivers today and drivers from 20, 30, 40 years ago, and how, you know, there's some drivers who just drive by the seat of their pants. You can put them in the car. They may not know anything about the car they're driving, but they're going to be fast. They just have that right feel. And I think Ty Gibbs seems to suit that kind of seems to fit that sort of identity. There are other drivers that, you know, are talented, sure, but have to put in a lot more homework, that really understand the inner workings of the car, really understand a lot of things that way, and that's how they gain their competitive edge. Ty Gibbs, not saying he doesn't do his homework, not saying he doesn't do his research, but Ty Gibbs seems like the kind of kid that you can put behind the wheel of just about anything, and he will find a way to make the most of it, to get the most out of it. So I'm with you. Ty Gibbs, very up and coming, very promising. Kyle, thank you. Do you think Kurt will actually go to 2311 next year and help the team? Also, will Monster go with them? Okay, that's another topic I want to get to today. So we'll bounce around. Thank you for the super chat, Kyle. Yes, for those who didn't see it in the middle of the race, great timing, Jordan. Jordan Bianchi and maybe Jeff Gluck as well. The Athletic, the NASCAR Athletic writers broke a story saying that Kurt Busch is the leading candidate to get the expected to be second at 2311 car next year. That's right. Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, they are planning on expanding to a two-car team next season, charter or not. And it sounds like Kurt Busch is the leading candidate to grab that second seat. This comes after just a couple days after Kurt Busch tweeted that tweet about how he's not done yet. He's not effing leaving. You know, you guys remember that bitten out of the groove the other day. So according to Kurt Busch, at least according to what I saw from The Athletic, he has not had any conversations with either Chip Ganassi or 2311. At least that's what he said. Apparently, Kurt Busch told reporters that he has not talked to anyone about his contract for 2022. So then if The Athletic is reporting that Denny Hamlin and them want him to drive for their team, I bet it is legit. And now it's just going to come down to, can they strike a deal? Is that appealing to Kurt Busch? I think it would be. I think that a 2311 ride is at least as competitive as his current Chip Ganassi ride. So I think it'd be great. Does Monster Energy follow him over there? It's too early to say. They clearly seem to like working with Kurt Busch. They've been on his car. They've been a part of him for several years now, for a good number of years now. So maybe, but no guarantee on that. No, absolutely no guarantee there. Hold on a second. I think we just hit a massive lag spike. Just hit being hit with an EMP. They've knocked out our satellites. What is going on here? Wow. All right. Okay. I think we're back. I think we are back. All right, that was weird. It's like somebody knocked our satellite out of orbit for a moment, but now it's been put back into place. You guys got me. Y'all got me. Y'all got me still? Are we back? I think it's back. I'm getting good signals here. That's weird. That was a weird one. I don't know what I was talking about. We're wrapping up the Kurt Busch discussion. We'll see where that goes. I do want to talk about the broadcast here in just a moment. Thank you. Harvick's theme song is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Ty Gibbs will be way better than the cheater boy will ever be. Harvick needs to get down on his hands and knees and apologize and take voluntary I don't know what's going on here. More Kevin Harvick hate. All right, there you go. That's that. Thank you, Medium Space. Who's a killer in Xfinity and Truck Series? Like, who's really good? Ty Gibbs is really good in Xfinity. He's killing the competition these days. It's a weird way to phrase that question. Let me see. Is the stream all good? Is the stream good? Stream's good. You guys, it looks good. Very groovy. Very nice. Very nice. Good. That was weird. It's just like all of a sudden I almost have like a digital dash here on my desktop where, like, you know, when it's green it's like, okay, you're under pit road speed, but when all of a sudden it starts flashing red, I'm like, oh, something wrong is happening, what's going on? That was a weird bug. Hopefully that is the only blip we encounter here this afternoon. But let's talk about the broadcast for a moment, because this was the, I guess, annual drivers only show, and I gotta say I have some mixed, I like drivers only, but the reason I have maybe mixed opinions on it is because, you know, what does it say that, you know, we can slide in Kevin Harvick into the play-by-play role, we can slide Eric Jones, Christopher Bell into the reporter role, we can slide Logano, we can slide Blaney into the color commentary roles, and we all enjoy the heck out of it today, right? I have a feeling most people enjoyed the broadcast today. I mean, I did. I thought, you know, Kevin Harvick occasionally stumbled over his words. He struggled with reading some of the promos and things occasionally. It didn't sound super natural, but I thought the banter between him, Logano, and Blaney was more often than not really entertaining and usually pretty educational. And I thought Eric Jones and Christopher Bell killed it on pit road. I know they're getting a lot of help from, I think Jamie Little and Regan Smith are kind of in their ear, holding their hands through a lot of it. I know they're getting a lot of help, so kudos and credit to those guys. But as far as on camera is concerned, Eric Jones and Christopher Bell sounded super duper natural. Eric Jones had a great interview with AJ Allmendinger in the garage, where Allmendinger said he was going to go, you know, whip everyone next week. I thought he did a good job. He did a good job interviewing Ty Gibbs, the race winner, on the racetrack. I thought it was kind of cool that Christopher Bell, late in the race, like before the final restart, they had Bell talk to his former crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, and then they had Eric Jones talk to his former crew chief, Chris Gale. I thought that was kind of a nice twist. So what does it say that this combination of drivers who are not TV people were just as good, if not better, than the actual TV professionals? And I don't mean that as a diss to Adam Alexander or Jamie Little or Regan Smith or anybody like that. I don't mean that as a diss, but it just, did we miss them today? I didn't really. You know, I think unfortunately, I think across both NBC and Fox, there just aren't that many great TV commentators calling NASCAR races. Like Mike Joy, I think he's getting a little bit older. I think this year he hasn't been quite as good as he's been in previous years, but I think even Mike Joy is virtually irreplaceable, or it would be very difficult to slide anyone into Mike Joy's role and for us to not notice. You know, I think, you know, back when Alan Bestwick called races, I don't think you could have slid anyone in place of Alan Bestwick without fans noticing and finding it to be worse. And so when it comes to drivers only broadcasts, I think, to me, the only thing I don't like about these drivers only, and it's the same thing I don't like about when, like, the NBA does it too. The NBA will do players only sometimes on, like, TNT, I think. The only thing I don't like about it is it sort of devalues the TV professionals. Like, I watched this today and I thought I had more fun watching this race, or as much fun watching this race, as I've had any race Adam Alexander has called, any race Vince Welch or Michael Waltrip have called. Like, if anything, the drivers only-ness added to the experience today. And that is troubling, because I wish we had really top-notch people calling these races. I really wish that, you know, that was the case. So that instead of, this feeling like a better broadcast than most other broadcasts, was hoping this would feel different. So I don't know. I don't mean that as I see you guys in the chat. Most all of y'all are saying that, yeah, this was a really good broadcast day. Like this was as good or better than usual. And that's that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I like that. So in other words, I like the drivers only broadcast. I thought it was really fun. I thought everyone did a really, really good job. I like that this gives fans watching at home a great opportunity to see some of these young driver personalities on full display. I think you come away from these races with, as some people mentioned earlier, a more positive opinion of Joey Logano, maybe a more positive opinion of Ryan Blaney. I thought Bell and Jones were great on pit road. I thought Stenhouse, I thought Keselowski, Chad Knaus were solid in the studio. I didn't mention Harvick because I know this chat doesn't like Harvick for some reason. But even Harvick, you're like, Harvick had some great lines, So I love putting the competitors' faces in front of and voices in front of more people in a very casual sort of setting. So I like drivers only for that. It bothers me a little bit because it kind of exposes how forgettable normal NASCAR broadcasts are. And I don't know. That's something. Thank you, Medium Space. Why is Kyle not doing trucks or Xfinity full time? Busch? He's not allowed to. NASCAR has a cap. I think it's like 5 or 6 races in each series. Thank you, Daniel. I have a feeling that Ty Gibbs is going to have to perform great right out of the gate. Hope he doesn't have that pressure. Good kid. I disagree. I don't think Ty Gibbs is going to be under as much pressure as other drivers might. I mean, he's Joe Gibbs' grandson. He's Joe Gibbs' grandson. I think he'll be granted a little bit of leeway if he struggles a bit. I think he'll get some leeway. If he's out there racing without a sponsor on the hood. I mean, Joe Gibbs it would make a ton of sense for Joe Gibbs to put a guy who brings sponsorship behind the wheel of that car. But no, he's putting his grandson Ty Gibbs behind the wheel because he knows his grandson's really good, but also because he's his grandson. So I don't think Ty Gibbs is going to be under any extenuous pressure. Right out the gates. But that being said, he's been great so far. I mean, out of the gates this year, he's been fantastic. Pressure or no pressure, he's been amazing out of the gates. So I'm not that worried about Ty Gibbs right now. Thank you, Arian. The regular Fox Xfinity crew is weak. I don't hate the Xfinity. Well, see, the Xfinity booth already usually has a lot of active drivers in it. That's usually Adam Alexander, who does a very solid job, I think. And it's usually Alexander with like Logano and Blaney, or Logano and they used to have Boyer in it a lot. Kurt Busch comes in a lot of times. Austin Dillon's been in it a lot. So the Xfinity booth already is sort of a drivers only. I guess I was comparing this more to NASCAR broadcast booths by and large. I think the booth today was more fun than most every truck series booth this year. I thought the broadcast day was more fun than honestly, than a lot of the Cup Series calls this year. I think the Cup Series has been decent this season, but I don't think it's been anything fantastic. And honestly, this booth is more fun than a lot of the NBC calls from the last year or two. Dale Jr. wasn't as fun last year. The energy he brought in 2018 when he first showed up has slowly kind of trickled away. He sort of feels like he's not bringing quite that same energy every week, and now it's kind of turned into just Rick Allen. And then you got Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton trying to talk over each other. So I'm nitpicky about this stuff because this is the lens with which most every NASCAR fan watches their sport through. Like 50,000 people might be at the racetrack, but 3 million people are watching through whatever Fox or NBC is showing you. So every week, millions of fans are going to listen to whatever the TV booth has to say. They're going to see whatever Fox and NBC choose to show them. So I'm nitpicky about this stuff because I want this stuff. This stuff should be great. This stuff should be really, really good. And I just don't think it is. I don't think any of NASCAR's TV booths are as good as they were 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago, when you had Mike Joy, Larry Mack, Darrell Waltrip, all in their prime, Fox was so freaking good. I thought even TNT back in the day was pretty solid. Their section of the schedule was decent. And ESPN with Alan Bestwick, Andy Petrie, Dale J, also fantastic. 10 years ago, roughly, the TV booth across the board were better than they are today. And, I think that matters. I do think that matters. I think Fox and NBC should hold themselves to a very, very high standard. But anyway, I'm not really paying attention to the chat at the moment because so many of y'all are just making random Kevin Harvick comments. And I kind of just getting old. I don't really know what to make of it anymore. Thank you, Eric Estep II. Dad, we need more 2+ mile tracks. I don't get why you don't like them. They have a great draft effect. Fun. How could you praise him? I'm not going to keep reading the Harvick jokes. The Harvick jokes are just childish. No, we don't need more 2-mile tracks. Absolutely not. We need less. I'm very excited for Auto Club to be turned into a short track. I hope that still, in fact, happens. Every week they delay it, or every week they continue to not break ground on it, is another week my doubt that it's going to happen grows slightly, just ever so slightly. But I hope it happens. Thank you, Groovy Goose. I hope Bowman wins at Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah, so they take Texas off the schedule. I see. Very clever. Very clever. We need a 5-mile track. Oh, now we're getting crazy. Let's pull up the results for this race, because I didn't mean to dwell. I don't mean to dwell in the broadcast booth too much. My point was really only to say that I enjoyed the drivers only broadcast today, but to me it does somewhat expose. I think the catch-22 of it is it exposes, the traditional NASCAR TV booths a little bit. That the fact that we were able to have this much fun, a bunch of unprofessionals were able to put on a good show today with help. Like I said, Jamie Little, Regan Smith, whoever it was on pit road, definitely were holding their hands and helping them with certain portions of the show. But I don't know. I just wish it consistently better broadcast. And I don't mean to just limit it to the TV personalities. I should also mention like the camera crews. Today, that shot of Matt Mills spinning out underneath the drone was so cool, was so awesome. But they cut away from it. Y'all saw it. Like when the wreck happened, they were on the drone cam when the wreck started. You see the guy start to spin out, and we're like, oh, he's coming right for us. And they cut to like a wide shot, a worse shot. I've done some TV stuff before. I understand that it's not just in the moment they have to snap their fingers and go. It's kind of like okay, ready, camera 2, go camera 2. Okay, ready, camera 4, go camera 4. So there's like always going to be a 1 or 2 second delay usually there. They can't just immediately cut. There's usually a slight delay. So I don't entirely fault them for it. It just feels consistent. So every aspect of TV needs to be good because, as I said, 3 million fans watch on TV every week as opposed to only like 50,000 that see it in person. So TV matters a ton, matters a lot. The quality needs to continue to be great. Ty Gibbs wins, second win in only 6 career Cup or Xfinity Series races. How about that? He qualified like 8th, drove up to like 4th early on, spun out, didn't hit anything, didn't tear up the splitter, worked his way back through the field, and then I think surprisingly was running down Briscoe at the end there. Got into it with Briscoe a little bit, did not make contact with Chase Briscoe, but racing him certainly aggressively. He apologized for it afterwards, and even Briscoe seemed to, Briscoe probably wasn't happy. He wasn't thrilled with it, but he wasn't super upset. It was a racing deal. It was a mistake. It was obviously not intentional. I don't think Ty Gibbs was trying to run him that close in pack air that way, the way he did. I think he himself lost the nose just a tad, and kind of as he was trying to slide back in behind the 99 car, just naturally that because he only missed him by this much, that air spins the guy around at that portion of the track. So, I don't think Ty Gibbs meant to do that. I don't think Briscoe views it as intentional. It was just a racing deal, but it was an aggressive deal. And I know Ty Gibbs last time he was in that car a couple weeks ago, I think it was at Dover, he got into 2 guys in that race and spun one dude out. I can't remember everyone he ran into, but he did run into a couple cars in that race, and I know he made some people angry. So, here we are, second week in a row. He's sort of almost probably made someone a little upset. I can't imagine Briscoe's happy about it. He's not probably like going out for blood, but I'm sure he's not happy about it. So Ty Gibbs, aggressive, but clearly talented, can't deny that. He gets the win here today. Austin Cindric gets second, Harrison Burton third. Brandon Brown, we mentioned it earlier, still had an extra set of tires late, restarted 10th on the final restart, drove up to 4th in just a handful of laps. Very great run for that small team. Brandon Built Motorsports. Tyler Reddick for the second week in a row gets Jordan Anderson Racing a great finish. He was 8th last week, 5th this week. Great for him. Great points for Jordan Anderson Racing. Their first 2 Xfinity starts ever. They need as many owner points in that 31 car as they possibly can get. big boost these last 2 weeks, thanks in large part to Tyler Reddick. Chase Briscoe, it was a Stewart Haas prepared car, but technically it was a BJ McLeod Motorsports entry. So really awesome to see that small team get a top 10 finish. Ty Dillon, driving for our Motorsports, I believe, ends up 7th. Brandon Jones. Jeb Burton, he spun out late in this race, came back for a top 10. Good for him. And Jeremy Clements, quiet day, but he gets a stout top 10. That team has been really consistent this year. Riley Herbst ends up 12th. Good for him. Landon Castle, Alex LeBay, Chad Fincham, and Ryan Vargas, who was on the show this week, ends up 16th. So really big day for a couple of those JD Motorsports cars. That's awesome. Made up some positions for sure during that, after that huge wreck late in the race when, as we mentioned earlier, Hemrick got, I think, hooked a little bit by, was it Gregson? Gregson was involved. Michael Annett was destroyed, and then a couple other cars. I don't remember exactly who it was now that Hemrick kind of moved up in front of a little bit and spun in front of the whole field. Haley was collected in it. Big crash. A couple big scary, I don't know, but it's not necessarily super scary, not compared to yesterday's truck race, but a couple big crashes in this race today for sure. Ryan Sieg trying to save that 39 car, that one restart where he stayed out and was on old tires. Overcorrected a tad, got up into Josh Berry and someone else. I don't remember who else got pancaked in that one. Someone else got hit pretty hard, but big accident there. That one was a big hit. Glad Josh Berry especially was okay. Hit him dead on. Thank you, Harvick is a cheater boy, for the super chat. We will stop once Harvick gets down on his hands and knees and apologizes and takes a 2-race voluntary suspension. All right. Gosh, okay. Oh, really? Haven't let 2015 go, I guess. Thank you, Evan. Which JGR driver do you see Ty replacing in 2023? Martin Truex Jr. I don't know. Martin Truex Jr. is going to make it a really hard decision because he keeps winning races. Dude's got 3 wins to lead the Cup Series this year. It's going to be a hard decision for Joe Gibbs to make, I think. But in 2023, let me confirm. Truex is 40 right now, right? Martin Truex Jr. age. Yeah, he's 40 years old. He's about to turn 41 next month. So he will be 40... What year is it? 42, about to turn 43 when 2023 starts. Still very much capable. He'll still, I'm sure, be at or very near the top of his game. Still be a very solid driver, but keep in mind he signed a contract extension with Gibbs this year for 1 year. His contract was set to expire after this year, 2021, so he was going to be a free agent this year. But Joe Gibbs was like, no, we'll sign you to extension, and it sounds like a 1-year extension. They didn't say for sure if it was a 1-year or multi-year, but I thought it was interesting. In like the same week, they signed Hamlin to an extension, and they made a big deal about how it's a multi-year extension. They didn't, again, say it could be 2 years, but they're like, oh, multi-year deal for Hamlin, look at us. And then like a few days later, they signed Truex to a new deal, and they didn't say anything about how long it was, which makes me think it's a 1-year deal, which means I think Truex, after 2022, unless he's still winning like 8 races for some reason, I think Truex is out, and I wouldn't be shocked if Ty Gibbs ends up in the 19 at the rate things are going. I know we're like 2 years out, but that's my 2 years ahead of time random prediction. And it will be a very risky move for Joe Gibbs because, like I said, I think Martin Truex will still be very good at that point in his career and will probably still be contending for wins and maybe even will still be comparing for championships. But I don't see Joe Gibbs letting Ty go to 23-11, maybe for a year. Maybe like for his rookie season. Maybe they sign Truex to another 1-year extension, and for 2023 Ty's in a 23-11 car. I don't know. But I think long term, Joe Gibbs is going to want Ty in one of his cars. So we'll see. Maybe if Kurt Busch really does go to 23-11 next year, maybe that's only for a year or two. And so maybe when Truex's deal with Gibbs ends, maybe they move Truex over to 23. That's too confusing. That would make it. That's too much. I don't know why they'd bother doing all that. That's a lot of work. A lot of rebranding that would need to be done for no real reason. I don't know. The way things are going, though, yes, I think Ty Gibbs will be due for a Cup ride by 2023. That's my guess. That is my guess. I mean, how can you deny it? Dude's 18 years old, running in a lot of places for the first time in his career with very little practice. And he's got 2 wins in 6 races. His average finish is 5.2, and that's only because he had that Darlington race where he ended up 18th. I forget what happened to him in that race, but he ran inside the top 5, top 10 that whole race. I forget why he fell back. Did he spin? I'm blanking on it. But he didn't run 18th. That's all I know. His other 5 races have all been top 5 finishes. And look at these variety of tracks. He's won at a road course this year. He's finished top 5 at a 1-mile track in Phoenix, a half-mile Martinsville, another 1-mile Dover, and he just won at a 1.5 miles. The speeding penalty. That's right. He did get that speeding penalty. That was self-inflicted. Tie. But he was fast for then. I know he was in the top 10. He ran in the top 10 before that. So, if not for that speeding penalty, he might have all top 5s this year. We ranted and raved about William Byron's very impressive top 10 streak in the Cup Series this year, 11 straight races, but Ty Gibbs is this close to 6 straight top 5s to begin his career. Not even to begin like a season, to begin his Xfinity career. We have not seen a clear can't miss prospect like this since, Chase Elliott, William Byron were obviously talented, but like I go all the way back to like Joey Logano is the closest equivalent I think I can really think of. Kind of similarly in attitude. He was also in the JGR system early on, and he was, the greatest thing since sliced bread. He was another driver that just naturally was super duper talented, was super young, winning races he had no business winning, was in Cup by 18. So I feel like if I was going to say Ty Gibbs is probably the most obvious prospect since Joey Logano. And you can argue Chase Elliott, William Byron, maybe I don't know who else. Who else would fit that bill in the last 10 years? I go back Kyle Busch was similar. Kyle Busch had some questions off the track, questions about, his just personality, his attitude, things like that, sure. But his talent, his racing talent was obvious, but that's all the way back. You're going early, mid-2000s there. So I'm just trying to think in the last 10 years. Chase Elliott was obviously really talented. William Byron kind of came out of nowhere, sort of, he arrived on the scene fairly late, but it showed up and immediately started winning truck races, contending for truck championships, Xfinity championships, won an Xfinity championship. So, William Byron showed up and immediately won in everything. Chase Elliott showed up and was immediately, clearly, really, really good. But Ty Gibbs fits into those categories. For sure. For sure. Whose racing career started on a computer. Exactly. Good old Willie B. This is also crazy. I'm on his racing reference page, but Ty Gibbs, he has an average finish of 5.2. That's amazing through 6 races. His average starting position is 18.2. That's right. He's starting a lot of these races from mid to back of the pack because he doesn't have as many driver's points. He didn't race the week before, so he doesn't have that factoring into the algorithm. So he usually starts mid pack. And these Xfinity races, as we saw today, get a bit chaotic. They get a little crazy. It's easy to get caught up in someone else's mess. So that's another thing that's impressive is that Ty Gibbs starts mid pack and immediately finds the top 5 and stays there. Unless he spins himself out. But then he gets back to it's crazy. It's ridiculous. And yet Ty Gibbs has no sponsors. The sponsors will come. Someone will show up. Someone will take notice. We were joking in last night's stream that, Kellogg should come back to NASCAR because they own Cheez-Its and, the peanut butter crackers thing. Who owns Ritz? We didn't even talk about that. Who owns Ritz? Because they've been in NASCAR before. Who owns Ritz? No, not the Ritz-Carlton. Gosh damn it, Google. What do you think I'm looking up? The Ritz Crackers. Ritz Crackers is a brand of snack cracker introduced by Nabisco in 1934. Okay, so it's Nabisco. Or, according to Wikipedia, it's actually Nabisco / some company called Mondelez International. Well, that's intense sounding. Pretty cool. Thank you, Groovy Goose. Roush Fenway now has 3 names. Should I be worried? Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, it's a mouthful. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. Assuming everything gets confirmed. And yes, we will be streaming the SRX video game. I downloaded it last night. I didn't fire it up yet. I have not fired up the SRX video game, but I have downloaded it. Did it ever finish downloading? I went to sleep, honestly, before it finished. Is it in my... Where is it? Yeah, SRX the game. We'll be streaming that here in the next couple of days. I've heard mixed reviews about it. A lot of people yesterday were saying it's actually really, really fun, but originally I heard a lot of negative things. So, okay, I guess maybe they patched it day one. You know how it is? I don't know. So, this is a good point that Glenn points out in the chat. Just wait until Sam Mayer starts driving in a few weeks. That's going to be so fun to watch. So, Ty Gibbs has done 6 races so far. He has, I believe, 9 more on his schedule this year. And most of those 9, at least 7 or 8 of them, are probably going to overlap with Sam Mayer races driving for Junior Motorsports. That's going to be a fun battle. 2 18-year-olds duking it out on a almost weekly basis in one of NASCAR's top series. That's going to be fun because Sam Mayer is another clearly talented prospect. So we'll see how he adapts to the difficulty, the busyness of the Xfinity series. Should Brandon Brown get a good ride? He owns his own team, so I think he's very invested into the sport more beyond just driving. He's very much team owner. He's doing everything over there. I don't know. I'd be interested. I haven't heard from Brandon Brown in a while. If like Joe Gibbs knocked on his door and said, "Hey, we have a seat open. You want the race this weekend?" I doubt he'd pass it up, but I don't think he'd like close his race team down to go chase a driving career for a big team. He'd probably try to maintain the owning a team at some point. I don't know. Maybe not. I have no idea what his situation is. I'm not going to be live after the ARCA race tonight. Is the race even on FS1? I mean, I have the our ARCA race is on the Fox Gold, or the not the Fox, NBC Gold, because I do have the NBC like track pass thing, but I forget if all the ARCA races are watchable on there. It is on FS1. Okay, then that's easy. Then I'll check in on it, but I'm not gonna. I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna do a live stream afterwards. Uh-oh. Did we just get hit by another EMP? Weird. I think we're okay. I think we're good. Whoa. Wacky. Yeah, East and West race. That's what I'm thinking of. Thank you. Yeah, those are on Track Pass. Because I've watched some of those races this year. Thank you, Evan. Should Kurt go to 2311? Who's got a better shot at the 1? Josh Berry or Matty D? That's an interesting proposal. Josh Berry to the Cup Series. I don't think Matt DiBenedetto's leaving the Wood Brothers. I'll say that. He might, maybe he will, but I believe the team has an option to keep him for another year. And with Brad Keselowski likely leaving Penske, and more than likely I think Austin Cindric's already expected to be in the Cup Series. I don't think there's anything stopping Penske from saying, oh, since we have an opening, Cindric, come to Penske instead of Wood Brothers. I feel like there's a good chance they'll bring him in-house. And I feel like the Wood Brothers like Matt DiBenedetto. Maybe I'm misreading that relationship, but I feel like the Wood Brothers like what DiBenedetto's done for them, what he's brought for them. DiBenedetto clearly likes racing for them, it appears. I think DiBenedetto stays at the 21. But should Kurt go to 2311? Yeah, honestly, why not? I don't think it's a worse team than Chip Ganassi. And it's a new team that I would say is probably going to get better before they get worse, if that makes any sense. I think right now we've kind of seen their growing pains as they sort of figure things out this year. But I feel like, they're a TRD supported team. They have a decent amount of sponsorship funding. I feel like that's a team that is continuing to be on an upward trajectory. So I would say it's probably as good, if not a better ride than Chip Ganassi. I guess the one potential concern is if they don't have a charter for that second 2311 car. I think it was Bob Pockris tweeted out a good video. Reporters were talking to Denny Hamlin yesterday, and Hamlin was sort of talking about the charter system in a pretty good amount of detail and discussing whether or not now is the right time for a team owner to buy a charter. He did mention that the current charter agreement ends in 2024. I've been under the impression that they're going to extend it, maybe with a little tweak here or there, but Hamlin seemed to make it sound like he's not sure about whether they'll even extend it, or it might be completely wholesale changed by 2024. The charter system could look completely different in a couple of years, and I thought that was interesting. That's something new I had not heard. So we'll see. Hamlin seemed to make it sound like he's up to the task or okay with running a second team without a charter next year, even though there's some risks associated with that. There's less guaranteed money. You obviously don't even have the guarantee that you'll make the field every week at certain races if bad things happen, especially early in the season. If you could miss the show. So that could be a reason, if I'm Kurt Busch, to be a little bit concerned, but I don't think that would be enough to steer me away from it. So I think it'd be a good move for Kurt Busch to go to 2311 if the opportunity presents itself. Unless that Monster Energy deal is tied to Ganassi for some reason, you probably want to keep that Monster deal. They've been huge supporters, but I have a feeling they'll go where Kurt goes. They did in 2018 when he left SHR and went to Ganassi, so I think they're more tied to Kurt. At this rate, Ty will be in Cup by 22. Holy cow. Well, thank you for the super chat, Isaac. I don't think they'll put him in Cup next year. They don't have a seat for him unless he gets the second 2311 seat, but I think that would be unwise. I think next year he should run a full Xfinity schedule, run for the championship, hopefully makes the championship 4. I think that would be considered a successful season, and then see where things happen from there. See what lines up, whose contract in the Cup Series is up when. Does it make sense to put him in the 19 in place of Truex at that point? What else might be available? We'll have to wait and see. Ty ain't going to Cup. I see that in the chat. No, Ty Gibbs is certainly on track to drive in the Cup Series. I think if Anthony Alfredo, no disrespect to Alfredo, if Anthony Alfredo this year or Daniel Hemrick a couple years ago could get a somewhat okay Cup Series ride, then Ty Gibbs is more than deserving of a competitive or a fair Cup Series ride. So, no, Ty Gibbs will be in the Cup Series in the next couple of years. So, the question is really just where and when. And by where, we know it'll be Toyota. The question is Gibbs 2311, really. Or somebody else. I don't know. I say somebody else because, there's still the rumors that a Chevy team's going to switch to Toyota this offseason. We'll see. We will see. But I want to see Gibbs in Xfinity next year, full-time. With practice and qualifying everywhere. Making a ton of laps. Ups and downs of a full-on season. He'll feel that pressure of racing for the points. Because think about it, ARCA, he's really not feeling the points pressure. He's there to just win races. And he's more than likely going to be at or very near the top of the playoff, the point standings at the end of the season. But in Xfinity next year, if he's there full-time, especially come playoff time where every week is kind of like a new race, new season. You got to keep at it. You can't let up at any point. He'll feel that pressure. He'll feel the ebbs and flows of a full NASCAR season and, the difficulties, the struggles that are associated with that. And I think that will be really good, great learning experience. I thought it was interesting today. You heard Chase Briscoe talk about in his post race how great it was to run up front again. He hasn't run up front in a year, or he hasn't run up front, in 6 months since last year's Xfinity season. You go from dominating in Xfinity last year, winning 9 times, to this year Briscoe in Cup is lucky to sniff the top 10. That's difficult. That's difficult for a driver to go from dominating year after year to all of a sudden he's in a series where he's mid-pack. That's difficult. That's difficult mentally, I think, for a lot of these drivers. I think that was difficult for John Hunter Nemechek when he went to Cup and ran 30th in a bad car. I think that's difficult to deal with. So I think that will be a great experience for Ty Gibbs if he runs full-time Xfinity next year and runs for the championship. So you want to take Ty Gibbs to your high school prom? Is that what I'm reading? Good luck. Go for it. The worst he can say is no. Oh, man. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We've been going for almost an hour, but I've honestly run out of things to talk about. We've talked about some of the big crashes today. Hemrick had a great day. It's a shame it got, he ran into some issues, and then, of course, he wrecked. Ty Gibbs, up, down, up, wins, second win in 6 career races. Kid's crazy. I can call him a kid. He's 18. I'm 23. He's one of the few people in NASCAR I can call a kid. Child. But he's amazing. He's super talented, super fun to watch, putting on a show. Ty Gibbs gets the win. Brandon Brown with a really stout top 5. Really excited for my boy Jordan Anderson. 2 Xfinity Series starts as a team owner. 2 top 8s. Really great for Tyler Reddick to be getting them those results. Josh Berry will drive that car next week at Mid-Ohio. That'll be exciting. Fun race today. Drivers only broadcast was cool. Was very fun. And I think that's going to do it. Yeah, we did talk about the drivers only broadcast a little bit earlier. I was saying how it bothers me a little bit that I find the drivers only broadcast as fun or even more fun than a traditional Xfinity Series broadcast. But I guess that's the point of it. It's supposed to be different. It's supposed to be a breath of fresh air. I'd probably get tired of Harvick and Logano and Blaney's antics if I had to hear it every single week. I'd probably get tired of it eventually. So I'm not going to cast too much judgment there. But I enjoyed it a lot today. Thought everyone in the broadcast was fun. I thought the drone cam, getting that shot of Matt Mills was super, super duper neat. And that's going to do it. that's going to do it for the stream. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, not with a live stream, but I will be back tomorrow night with my typical Out of the Groove post-race review of the Coca-Cola 600. It's going to be a late night, so I implore you all to stay up late with me. The Cup race will probably not end until like 9 or 10 o'clock Eastern, maybe later, so my video will probably be up around midnight, but give or take. So bear with me. I will see you all again tomorrow night. Thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate the super chats. You guys are incredible. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for chatting it up in the live chat, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Have a fantastic Saturday night, y'all. Take care.